Oh, we're doing this, are we? All right, cool. So I played through this week the new DLC for GreedFall called the Vespe Conspiracy. So I talked a little bit about it last week. So this is bundled in with if you buy the new gold version of GreedFall. But it can be purchased separately for about $9 to $10 Australian, depending on if you're on Xbox, for instance. If you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you get a little bit cheaper and stuff like that. I believe it's Spider's first DLC pack that they've done, at least for any of the games that I've played of theirs. So, I definitely, Technomancer didn't get any DLC packs or Bound by Flame or anything like that. So in terms of, I guess, what this DLC is, so the story... I'm not going to get into the story, but I'll just say what I guess kicks it off with a member of the Vespe family arriving in Teer Fradee, so the island that the game's set on. And the Vespes are an infamous rival family that are also part of the merchant congregation that, like the Sardets, and who's the main character, Sardet. So basically, you go to meet this new character, Aurelia de Vespe, and it kicks off this big conspiracy storyline involving your cousin and all these other stuff. I was able to access the quest with my save that was just before the point of no return. So basically, I believe you can probably access this. It makes sense. You can probably access this anytime after you've kind of probably done the initial stuff on Teer Fradee, because the storyline just feels like it could be placed at any point. And it ties in the main narrative thread, but more of a side story, which makes sense because obviously none of this stuff happened when you played through it originally. But this DLC is really, it's not much to it, honestly. It's pretty short. We talk about the usage of the term DLC versus expansion. This is definitely what I'd call a DLC. It's like, to me, it was like 2 to 3 hours.
Oh,
it was
wow.
very short. There's a new area called the Flaming Blood, I think it is. I've got it in my notes somewhere. But yeah, basically you get this new area. It's not too big. It's pretty similar to other areas in GreedFall. And it's not that much to do in it. Like, you get some side quests, but it's pretty light in content, honestly. And so I was a little disappointed in that. I was thinking it was going to be something more substantial. Now, it's pretty cheap. So I was going to
say it's only $10, right?
Yeah, I know.
But that's not like, can I just challenge you both like that? DLC, for the most part, is the worst value. It's so insane bad value.
Oh, yeah. Generally speaking, it's horrible value, especially look at Forza. You pay like $10 for one car. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but it's close.
Yeah, and you compare it to like actually getting the game. It's crazy.
So, yeah, I don't know what you challenged me on that, because I hadn't even said my thoughts around any of that stuff yet. But basically, this is a pretty small piece of content, and the reason I was expecting more was because it's been a while since, GreedFall came out in September 2019. Now, I know that they probably, it's not like they've been working on this small piece of content since then, but it felt like a bigger thing from what they were really pushing. You do get cool, unique weapons. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually use any of them because my character is spec'd up completely magic, so I didn't even have the attributes to equip them. But for people that are, using different melee builds and stuff like that, then there's some cool stuff there. But also, half the DLC kind of takes place in existing locations, which makes sense for the storyline. But I'm like, just give me more stuff to do in this new area. There just wasn't that much to do. So look, overall, it's not bad. It's more GreedFall. So if you're obsessed with the game, you'll likely enjoy it. I love GreedFall, but I'm not obsessed with it. So it's like, to me, I don't think it's worth $10. I'd say that this is probably a good $5 purchase for just a little bit more content. Honestly, my favorite thing was I was happy to have more lore and background to the characters and the different families in GreedFall. That's actually what I found really interesting, but I just would have liked a more substantial piece of content.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
And you were playing this on Series X, yeah?
I was playing through this on Series X. I will be playing through it on PC when I get to a bit later in my playthrough on PC. So
yeah, and so that had the bump up with the next gen update, or am I getting confused?
Yeah, no. So I was playing 60 FPS. It's a little disappointing that it had the whole performance or, fidelity mode.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, I just don't understand why this game probably couldn't run at 60 in either. But
okay.
Yeah, but no, it was nice to play it at 60, I will say.
It has become a bit of a cop-out for this generation, hasn't it? That every game is having basically a 60 frames per second mode or a 4K mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we genuinely have to wait another generation for 4K 60. It's kind of like shit. Okay, that's.
I mean, it is the start of. Well, the problem is it's the start of the generation, which means on one hand, games aren't as optimized. So okay, there's some room for improvement, but on the other hand, games are not as crazy yet on this generation.
That's
so
the thing.
They're going to become even worse, and I think they're going to be even more power hungry as the generation progresses. So I don't know. It's next generation. Hopefully, this game looks really freaking good, though. I actually. I'm very compelled to get into it. My only thing is, how long is it going to take? Is it a big game, Swinny? How many hours do I need to sink into this? Because this looks like right up my alley as well as an RPG.
It's not a short game, but I wouldn't say it's not like a Witcher 3 length or anything like that. So it's depends if you want to do everything, then it's going to take a bit of time. If you kind of just want to play through the story, then it's not going to be too long.
I just checked Godfall on. How long to beat? No, I'm just joking around. So Greedfall is 22 hours for the main story on how long to beat.
Pretty short.
And 51 for completionists. So
how much is The Witcher 3 for the main story?
That's
just for the story.
Crazy,
just for the story.
Story's for like 50 hours.
50 hours and then 170 for completionists.
Whoa. Because see, that's the thing with The Witcher. I don't know. I'm going to fall into the same trap with this. I can never play these games just for completion.
We don't need to. I mean, you play the game to enjoy it. If you enjoy what you're doing,
but I find naturally, because I'm a hoarder by nature, I collect things. I have to look at everything. I got to explore everything. I got to go through every single bloody conversation that you can possibly have. I got to min-max all the shit.
Are you saying you're like Sting and you don't like to go to completion too quickly? You just like to, carry it on for a bit of time?
Such a mic joke to make.
I know.
It's tantric fall. That's what
it actually, like the way that the joke, it's a perfect mic joke because the joke doesn't work in any other way. So it's not really even a joke. All right. So does it give the Swinny stamp of approval? GreedFall expansion?
I mean, can I give it a half stamp, like a bit of a
soft stamp? A soft stamp.
You can't see all the other parts of it because I half-assed it.
Yeah, you basically didn't ink it up well enough and just stamped a little bit of it.
Is there not an area in the game called Smallwood?
No.
Yeah, there is. It showed it just before.
Oh, okay,
there's an area called Smallwood. Would you give it?
Sorry, small as in a small wood. Yes, there is a place called
would you give this game? Would you give this DLC a small wood or a large wood?
A mic-sized wood.
Or a mic-sized wood, which is above large wood.
Very small, very small.
A woodfall.
A woodfall.
All right, well, I'm going to rescue this while we still have